Shawnell, Let, and Tone the Stone. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Stop the madness, keep it 100 with live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app, Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 on STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100. Call us at 1-866-484-7865. That's 1-866-484-STMK. Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100. Check out Reverend Bill Miller's Bible Study radio broadcast live on the new STMK Radio 100 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please listen in and support him as he joins the realm of broadcasting to encourage believers and offer the comfort of God to others across the airwaves. At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100. Also, feel free to contact him for prayer, counseling, and conversation at brobill9608@yahoo.com. That's BROBILL9608@yahoo.com. At the Table with Reverend Bill Miller on STMK Radio 100.
STMK Radio 100. You're listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 with your host, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
Yes, this is a PSA, a public street announcement. You are now listening to a Kickback production. Light up your L's, lean back, and listen.
Good evening and welcome to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. Tonight we're going to talk with a couple of candidates. One running for Ward 7 open council seat, and the other one is the 57 mayoral election candidate, Dyrone Smith. We are going to really get back with it, but first, before we go to Charlottesville and we talk to our 57 mayoral candidate, we have a young man who was with us last time to tell us about his campaign and what's going on. He has a debate tonight, and he wants everybody to come out and hear him. And on the phone with us is the council candidate for Ward 7, Demar Sheffey. Demar, welcome to Stop the Madness.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Demar, you know we always going to look out for you, and also we're going to try to get you into our remote studio and do a session just before the election. So tell the audience what's going on with your campaign and how has it been going so far?
So since we last time talked, I was getting the petitions and building up my name recognition and helping individuals. Since the show, I have went into the local middle school, Citizens Leadership Academy, and I talked to sixth graders, seventh graders, and eighth graders. Also, we hosted a community cleanup day where we went out and cleaned up throughout different parts of the ward. And also, I've been holding local coffee talks where individuals can come down and talk to me at a local coffee shop within the ward, and we could discuss anything that they want to talk about.
So, have you been in any of the debates that has been going on right now with any of your opponents?
Last Saturday we had a debate over there on St. Matthew's Church. It went very well over there in Wade Park. It went really, really well. And today is the second major debate that we have lined up so far in this primary season.
Well, we know you had a previous commitment tonight. That's why you couldn't get into the studio with us, and we're going to try to get you on here before we start the next show, just before the September 12th primary. But what I want you to do is I want you, since you've been out campaigning and you got to know the people in your wards and you're going against an incumbent councilman that has a big following and a big campaign chest. Tell the listeners what your platform is so they can pick back up on your platform and tell them what you're going to do for them if they give you the chance to sit in that chair September the 12th.
When I get elected September 12th and moving on to November 7th, I will be an advocate for the people, an advocate that will help all people who live in the ward to help solve all problems. I will help bring jobs within the community. I will help bring infrastructure within the community. And I will protect our youth by not only stopping infant mortality, which is a high factor within Ward 7. It is 22.1% in the Huff neighborhood. That is 5 times the greater length across the nation. So I'm imposing a mobile clinic to help alleviate some of that stress off of single moms or people who are having children who are dying before the age of 1.
So, DeMar, let me ask you this one question. Have you, when you've been in the community, what is their main concerns that the inner city people are telling you?
It's 2 things. They not like the youth on the corners of the street, and they want jobs, and they want to fix up the blight within their community. So I'm proposing of calling local CEOs across the nation. Just a few weeks ago, I read an article that Amazon is bringing jobs to North Randall. We have the infrastructure right now within Ward 7 that can support a fulfillment center. Calling jobs companies like Progressive to expand their company. Mayfield is only as big of a city as it needs to be. So contacting these local employers to bring hundreds of thousands of jobs to Ward 7 will be my first step. Also, when you bring jobs in, people will have some money in their pocket. I'm proposing a tax abatement where I cut taxes on individuals who have lived in the community for all of their lives, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And a tax abatement will be based off of how much you lived in the ward, how much have you contributed to the ward. If you're a first-time mover into the ward, you should get a tax abatement because studies have proven when you cut taxes, the people are the ones who go spend the money, not corporations.
Welcome YouTube, Facebook Live, and our 17 sister cities, San Francisco and San Diego. We're now hooked up with them on the West Coast. So right now, you're going out on internet radio, your Facebook Live, your YouTube Live, and you are on Twitter. We out tweeting, and we got people in the chat room. And one of the questions we want to pull out of the chat room for you right now is the biggest question that's going on with the $175 million Q deal that the courts just forced the city of Cleveland to put on a ballot that's going to cost us over $850,000 just for the special election after we have the November 1st election. Where you stand and what is your feelings about that?
I do believe that city council should do everything in their power to move their regular meeting up a few days to meet the requirement of 62 days before the election so it can be put on the November 7 election. This situation was created by city council and the mayor's office by rejecting the votes and not representing the people of the city of Cleveland. 20,000 individuals spoke. They had one job, and one job only was to collect the signatures and see that they meet the quota of 6,000 valid signatures to place it on the ballot. So Cleveland City Council and the mayor's office put us in a position. They need to be the ones to get us out of this mess without spending more taxpayer dollars.
And I want to go back into this right now. Saxman is in the house. Saxman, we got a big thing to talk with you about your interview with the other 57 controversial mayoral candidate. We'll get to that back in a minute. But Demar, where do you stand right now on who would you prefer to work with in the if you get elected? You know you're going to have to work with the mayor. You got some big issues coming up: the East Cleveland merger, the East Cleveland dump. You got the Q deal. You got the neighborhoods. I mean, your plate is going to really be full. Can you work with Mayor Jackson without being a rubber stamp for what he wants to do, or would you prefer somebody else come in and everybody start off fresh?
No matter who the people of the city of Cleveland elect as their next mayor, that will be up to the people of the city of Cleveland. However, the residents of Ward 7 will elect me to advocate on their behalf. So no matter if it's legislation or anything that's coming down from the top to getting into city council, I will always listen to my residents because I have two duties. I have one duty to the residents of Ward 7. That's my first true duty. And my second duty will always be to the city of Cleveland.
Well, right now, I want to ask you this question also, and this question is coming out of your ward. On the dirt bike track, will you attempt to repeal that legislation that has already been passed by council, or would you let it go through?
I will hold town hall meetings on the subject matter because the people themselves I'm an advocate for the people. So it doesn't matter if I like the dirt bike track or don't like the dirt bike track. I have different communities within my ward who wants to have a say on that dirt bike track. And once they give me the A-OK or no, get rid of it, that's how I will be writing or introducing legislation.
So in the debates that you're having, have anyone in your ward brought up concerns about the dirt bike track?
The residents are concerned with how taxpayer dollars are being spent and not being spent into the neighborhood. And Ward 7 residents want some of that money put back into their community. They want the high-end apartments to continue to come in, but at a slower rate, and they don't want to be feeling like they're being pushed out of their own community. So reinvest into the people who've been there for generations and make sure their homes and their tax dollars are going back to them.
Orlando, welcome. Orlando, Florida has just tied up in us. We're talking with a candidate for the Cleveland Council Ward 7 open seat. He's running against, that's TJ Giles. Am I correct on that? I don't have my sheet in front of me, but I think it's TJ's ward. And this young man has a good platform. We had him on before for about a half hour, and he really talked to us about what he's doing. So what is the debate tonight at the Catholic Church? Tell everybody where you're going to be at tonight so they can go out here and listen to you and see you perform right there with the incumbent and everybody there to hear your platform, to see where you're going and to see if you can hold your own.
So tonight, the debate will be at 6800 Lexington Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44103 at St. Agnes Our Lady of Fatima Church. Fatima Church. That's where I'll be at tonight with my other competitions. But come out and hear what I have planned for Ward 7 because I have something very special for Ward 7. And in the next 4 years, it will be able to combat the loss of residents that the city of Cleveland is losing and also the county as well.
So, Demar, I want you to tell us where you're going to be at just before election night. Are you spending election night at home, or are you going to be out campaigning, or are you going to be hitting some of the polls? How you plan on spending election night?
As of right now, polls close at a certain time. I do believe it's 7 o'clock. I'm still going to be out during the day, shaking hands, talking to last-minute voters, getting voters eagered up, going forward, waiting for results to come back. I haven't made the final decision yet on where I will be at.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get you into our studio so you can be live with us, so we can have a nice about an hour sit down and talk and really find out what your program is and find out really what you're going to get into. But before we let you go tonight, tell our listeners one more time why you should be the one that they should look at and pull that lever for in Ward 7.
People in Ward 7 should vote for me because of one reason and one reason only. I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate that will represent your best interest to the end. I don't have no skin in the game. It's about the people who I will represent. I was an advocate when I was an extern at the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Public Defender's Office. I represented people in that area. I represented people and landlord tenants. I am the best candidate today that could stand with the people of Ward 7, that can write laws, that could benefit them, and help understand all the other laws that's coming down the pipeline.
Well, Demar, we really appreciate you coming on Stop the Madness with us again, and we hope you all the luck you can. We want to get you elected so we can get you back out, and we're going to ask you to come into the studio. We're going to try to set that up so you can come into the remote studio over in the Bracknell, Cleveland area and sit with us while we do a live broadcast out to our 17 cities, Facebook Live and YouTube. And is there anything you want to say before you go?
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity that you have presented me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Cleveland, for listening. And I look forward to representing you in the near future. Thank you. Vote for Demar Sheffey, September 12th, 2017.
Okay, Cleveland, that was Demar Sheffey, council candidate for Ward 7 in the city of Cleveland election. Right now, we're going to talk about Charlottesville, and we're going to go to another phone call with the President Obama civil rights attorney, and you're going to really enjoy what she has to say. Now, make no mistake about it. Donald Trump gave everyone permission to take those hoods off and walk down the street with them Confederate flags and torches, with his winks and nods, and refusal to take a moral stand on racial hatred and intimidation during his campaign and during the first 6 months of his presidency. He's already spent years questioning the birthplace and the legitimacy of the first black president of the United States and commander-in-chief. And the haters loved him for it. What happened Saturday, even as a former KKK Grand Wizard, David Duke declared Charlottesville a turning point for the movement that aims to fulfill the promise of President Trump to make America great again, has turned hatred back on the front pages of our newspapers and images that we will see on TV forever, resulting in people being killed in the American streets. Deborah Wilson is with us and to tell us what we need to do now. And Deb, what is that everybody needs to do to move forward from this point?
I think that's the important question of the day, and I would say there are at least three things that have to happen. First of all, yesterday, President Trump said that we need to study what happened in Charlottesville. And yes, we have to understand for legal purposes what happened in Charlottesville yesterday, but we don't need more studies or commissions or made-for-television conversations about race. We know what has happened in this country, and we have to have an honest contextualization and understanding, fact-based, of American history, 1619 to 2017, and put what happened yesterday in context. Secondly, we have to deconstruct issues around our economy and around our laws, and that deal with and perpetuate issues of inequity so that we can create opportunity for everyone. And that includes both people of color and Americans who are white, low-income whites. Race has been used as the great wedge to divide insidiously, and we have to, as you say, knit people back together. And finally, we also have to deal with issues of culture in America and American identity, and broaden American identity so that we actually address the founding ideals of our country, breathe life into them, and make this a country for everyone who lives here, and deconstruct the issue of and the myth of American supremacy and entitlement that led to what happened yesterday. What makes America great is also something that's quite fragile. It is the American idea of individual rights and liberties, and we have to today go forward to protect that, but also to breathe life into it.
You're listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 with your host, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
Tonight, in the Red Room, we have a 57 mayoral candidate for the city of Cleveland, whose campaign for mayor is pretty simple. No big staff, no campaign strategist, or even a manager. No big campaign account. Mostly it's just him trying to talk to as many people as possible. He's a newcomer to politics, but he says he's a quick study, and he has shown his willingness to put in the effort. And that's evident by him qualifying for the ballot. His platform is better schools for our kids, reforming the legal system and our social justice system, to put City Hall back in touch with the community and bring power back to the people. So let's welcome Mr.
Dyrone W. Smith.
Mr. Smith, Dyrone W. Smith, Shaw High alumni. I'd like to welcome you to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100.
I appreciate you having me, Sean.
Hey, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with a newcomer to politician. This young man right here, I want to say this, and I want everybody to understand this. He went out and did all the work himself to get on the ballot. So he is very serious about that. He got over 6,000 signatures, and all the signatures that he got was right the first time. Zach Reed, mayoral candidate, paid over $40,000 to do that. Mayor Jackson, mayoral candidate, paid close to $75,000 to do that. Eric Brewer had 16 people out doing and collecting signatures. This young man put in the work himself and got his signatures to get on the ballot, and we really need to look at his platform. Tonight on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100, we are going to talk to him, and we're going to talk about the issues. We're going to give him a chance to explain what he want to do. Now, Mr. Smith, the first thing we do to all candidates, and you are the biggest one coming on our show right now because you're running for mayor, so we want you to tell the people of the city of Cleveland why you want to be their mayor.
Well, the reason, Sean, I want to be the mayor of the city of Cleveland is because I'm tired of riding over bad streets. I'm tired of sending my kids to poor performance schools. And I'm tired of the police treating everybody in the city like they're criminals. Our biggest issue in this community is investment and police reform, and the fact that there literally has been no democracy in our city, and I feel this as though our people have been left out of the politics in the city, and a lot of people have given up on even trying to vote anymore because they don't feel like they're being represented by the current political circle.
Well, let me ask you this. This is well known right here. The city of Cleveland has a lot of problems, and we're going to go into some of them. But there's 4 major problems sitting on your desk right now the day that you make mayor that you walk into. And the first one is the merger of the city of East Cleveland. Tell us, where do you stand on that issue?
I think it would be a good idea for the city of East Cleveland, but I've talked to many political operatives in East Cleveland, and the city's residents are not big on the merger, primarily because they want to keep their autonomy and their own identity. But I would be in favor of it. I know that their city hall in East Cleveland have not offered any fair options for the city of Cleveland. I'm for it. It's 17,000 residents. It would increase the tax base for the city of Cleveland. It would be great. We would just have to get the people of the city of East Cleveland for it. And many of the people that don't want to merge are members of the city or residents of the city that's been here for years. So that's a big issue. And I think, in my opinion, I think the city hall in East Cleveland, and the council, they made it too difficult, I guess, for the 2 mergers to go on. But we'll also have to get some members of the city of Cleveland on city council. I know that Kevin Kelly said that it had to be fair enough for both sides. But I've talked to residents of East Cleveland. Even they said what the East Cleveland City Council was attempting to bring into effect was unfair. So there's an attempt, I guess, to spoil that resolution between the two cities. But I know that City of East Cleveland schools are doing very well. It would be difficult to ask them to come into our school system knowing that it's not performing up to par. So we also have to get some things straight in the City of East Cleveland before we move ahead with any kind of mergers.
Now, I want to stay right there in the city of East Cleveland because the second biggest issue, and you probably already know where I'm going, that's going to be on your plate, is that East Cleveland dump on Noble Road. Now, the state of Ohio and the county has come out and said there's no health concerns, everything's fine, but the residents around there have some very serious concerns. So, as the mayor of Cleveland, you have to ensure your residents that their health and their property value is not going to be damaged by that dump in East Cleveland. So what type of programs would you put in place so they know that you're on top of it and monitoring the situation as it should be?
There are certain grants that you can bid for with the state. You can apply for those grants with the state to help to clean up some of those dumpster sites. We could certainly do that. And Cleveland just passed an $80 million increase in taxes. Now, I'm not sure how much of that they'll be able to collect every year, but certainly some of that money could go towards, if we merge with East Cleveland, towards cleaning up some of those sites. If it's unsightly, if that's what the residents want, they want it gone, they have to realize that it has to be paid for, too. You have to put your money where your mouth is. That's how politics works. But certainly, if we merge with East Cleveland, it would be a good idea to, use some of those tax dollars, and especially those increases in tax dollars, to help clean up sites like that.
Now, the other issue that we want to go right to that's facing the city of Cleveland and the residents is very, very concerned about that, and that's police reform. What is your opinion and philosophy as being a mayoral candidate to tell our citizens in the city of Cleveland how you would come in and reform the police department to ensure that everybody in the community is being treated with respect and equally?
Our police obviously are not very good to its residents. The city has been, especially the African American population, has been hit hard by police abuse of power. There are a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. At the base of this, I believe, is accountability for police departments, especially like ours, in which the unions have essentially made the police department autonomous agencies. But, African Americans have been fighting for human rights, civil rights, and constitutional rights for several years. The first thing I would do is defund or end the Internal Affairs Division and the Office of Professional Standards. Based on the monitor's recommendations and analysis, they have not actually been holding officers accountable. I think today it's apparent that the internal affairs divisions of any police department is not adequate, that police cannot police themselves, at least not in this way. So what I want to do is create a constitutional protection unit so that the citizens will know that the police department has their best interests in mind and are attempting to protect their constitutional rights, which is what they're here for in the first place. They're not supposed to break people's constitutional rights. Big cities like Cleveland, they have high population densities. It's very difficult to control crime, and the community has to be one with the police in order for there to be changes. I'm not sure if you heard of broken bottle rules, where police officers are essentially given the appearance that they are in control, that the city is being policed by creating rules that may put them in the way of residents, like open container laws. Those kind of laws are sort of destroying the relationship between the community and the police, and it hasn't decreased crime. It hasn't shown that it's effective, but they have instituted this type of concept in different cities. To me, they are classist, racist laws which attack poor people. And you can't attack the poor people, and you can't police everything. Policing by the book actually destroys your relationship with the police. But in a city where there's majority African Americans, and since we have been fighting for equal rights for quite a period of time, and still today we're fighting for equal rights, I think it's imperative that the police, that we form a constitutional protection unit to show that the police are on the people's side. And we have a long history where African Americans have been treated very badly in this country, not just here in this city. And when that affects you in a negative way. And our population, we're angry still because of it. I mean, we know the history that exists there. We know that there's still racism out there. You take the Charlotte incident, and, we've been negatively impacted by police brutality in a way that has affected us, not just today, but from the past as well. So it is emotionally draining. You don't get over slavery in a few hundred years. That still is embedded in our society, and the African Americans these days will fight to the death before they allow anything that even resembles slavery again. So we have to ensure all African Americans, and also whites, you have a lot of whites who have stood by African Americans since the Civil War when they freed slaves. They need to bond together. My motto is that black power plus white power equals unstoppable power. So we have to do that together with those whites that are fighting for equal justice for all races, and everything in between as well. And we have to catch these discriminatory acts. In addition to that, the unions are a big issue as well. As you know, they historically are racist organizations. Now, as African Americans started to break barriers into these organizations, they too took on discriminatory attitudes against their own people.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not all white police either. Black police do hold some of the blame for the abuse of authority inside our system as well.
Well, let me not to cut you off. Let me ask you this question then, because you're going right to where I want to go right there. Are you, or have you thought about, or will you back an amendment to remove all union personnel back to police duties, and put the amendment in where nobody will get paid to do union business by the city taxpayers? Because the present structure now is that Cleveland union officials are being paid by the taxpayers while they conduct union business.
Right, I am aware of that. And I got to be honest with you, the 1935 Wagner Act, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but this act excluded unions from the public sector because it was thought then that the unions would interfere with the effective management of the city and therefore democracy. The people are the managers when we elect a representative to represent us. And when those managers lose control of these organizations, then they're actually losing control. We're losing control of democracy. And yes, I actually think that unions, we should go back to the 1935 Act in which the unions were not allowed in the public sector. And we probably should also end collective bargaining. Of course, we'll probably have to go to, we'll definitely have to go to Columbus to get that in effect. And then some years ago, we did end collective bargaining, but it was overturned later on.
Right.
But
so
I'm definitely, yeah.
No, not to cut you off. Go ahead. Finish up.
No, yeah, I'm very much for ending collective bargaining and even going to the federal government to see if we can push these people out. Now, the supervisors in the Melissa Williams and Timothy Russell case ordered the officers to cease and desist the chase. They refused their orders. The supervisors are put in there by the managers. The managers are put in there by the police chief, and the police chief is put in there by the mayor. And the mayor, of course, is put in there by the residents of the city. When they disobeyed their orders, they disobeyed the entire population of this city. And even though the mayor we spent close to $1 million to fire 6 police officers, and 5 got their jobs back. And in my opinion, I question the mayor's ability, or any manager's ability, to effectively manage the system when you have interference from the unions. They're too tied up into our government. And it's difficult. It's almost like you're married to these people and you can't get them out. It's like being with a bad husband who abuses you, but you can't get out the relationship because you're too intertwined monetarily. So, yes, I am in favor of not only just ending the unions. Private sector unions are one thing. Public sector unions are a whole nother.
Now, so the next question from the chat room. You really answered that, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. So you would be in favor also of if you can't get rid of the union, but you would be in favor of removing binding arbitration from all contracts where the arbitrator wouldn't have the say so to put people back to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in the case where we couldn't end collective bargaining or get the unions out the public sector, you have to realize that these people are an empire inside an empire. And the way you take down empires is you have to attack them monetarily. You have to take away their resources. So anything that would weaken unions, and in my opinion, we would have to bring them down to size. Because it's no way that we can continue living in a republic which is supposed to be governed by the people, but we have interference from these unions. So we have to break them down to size and take their power away. And anything that would do that, I would be in favor of. And there are lots of things in those union contracts that people don't see. It's not overt. That is really protecting classes, racist elements inside our police departments. So yes, I would definitely be in favor of anything that depowers them.
Now,
and arbitration would be one of them.
The second question out of the chat room from Facebook Live is that would you be in favor of appointing a special prosecutor to go before a grand jury on all police shootings instead of having your law department or the city prosecutor who works with the police handle their cases?
In fact, I wanted to appoint an independent prosecutor for the city of Cleveland. We do have a prosecutor now that sits atop the Police Civilian Review Board, but again, as you said, that person is chosen piecemeal from different organizations and agencies inside the government, and the police union president is one of those people that chooses that person. So I'm in favor of appointees. Unions also make contributions to judges and politicians. We have to remember that. And when they make these kind of contributions to them, they have heavy influence on them. So I think an appointed prosecutor with no influence except from the branch that is controlled by the people would be advantageous for the city.
Now let's move right here. Hold on for 1 minute. YouTube Live, welcome for joining us. Facebook Live, Snapchat, Instagram, and our 17 sister cities. We're talking with a 57 mayoral candidate, Dyrone W. Smith. He's a young man. He's new into politician. He started his own campaign. He went out by himself. He got 6,000 signatures to get him placed on the ballot, and he's very serious about changing the outlook of the city of Cleveland, and we're talking with him right now. So, Mr. Smith, what I want to do, I want to go right here. I want to go to the third issue right here because I want to get go a little bit further in here. Our schools are graduating probably about 45%. Out of the 45%, maybe 32% go to higher learning, and another 12 to 13% is graduating below the standards that the state have, which means they're coming out of school, they can't even read properly or understand. You, as being the mayor now, will be in charge of the schools. With all the federal cuts that's coming for charter schools, what would you do to change that around?
Oh, wow, that's a whole lot you can do in these schools. Now, again, we have organizations like the unions that's an impediment. But I can tell you the biggest issue for our school system here in the city of Cleveland is the fact that it's working with 2.5 fingers of the invisible hand theory. It's all self-interest, but no motivation for change or progress. And I liken that to a race. When governments enter into markets, they create oligarchical and monopolistic structures. Monopolistic in structures like Cleveland, where you have very poor populations that can't afford other options, educational alternatives. And people are just showing up for work, and they're not doing it. You know, they have no interest in educating our children. And their only interest in the school system is a paycheck. And so we have to stop that. The school plan put in place by the mayor, I do agree with that plan, and I like to I would like to proliferate that and probably go a little further. Now, many of our students are not college ready or even college or even college bound. Some people, I have friends who just could not go to college. I went to college, but not everybody does that. So I think we need to have training programs inside our schools, and they've taken them out. They do have them in some schools, but we need to offer a variety of training programs and also arts programs that would hold our students' interest in school who maybe lose interest after, when you get up to the 12th grade, it's pretty hard to get up and go to school every single day without your mom cracking you over the head to get out of bed. So, we have to diversify our arts program. Our students here are good at dancing, they rap, they can do recording. It's all different things. And not every student is a sports player. So I understand that they want to keep the sports in there, but, sports is not the center focus of school. It keeps the kids interested. It keeps them coming. That's good. But then what about the other kids? What interests do they have in school? So we definitely need to diversify our arts program. And we also need to bring back things like parenting classes, home economics, things that gives our children life skills that they can use in the real world after high school. Auto body, auto mechanic, nursing assistant, that's a big thing to do. It's a 2-week, 3-week course or so, and that can be taught in our schools. I think it's very imperative that we give our children some learning that is hands-on, not just college-bound. The other thing I noticed about this school system, too, as I talk to parents on the campaign trail, is that many of their students are being asked to be forced into IEPs. Now, once in these IEPs, they're not only trapped inside the public schools because many of the charter schools don't have the resources to accept children with IEPs, but they also have to take the standardized test, but they don't have to pass it. And my kids, I have 2 kids now, including public schools. I won't say what schools they go to, but they give you a calendar, and in the calendar it says well, the biggest sign of success is graduation. No, it's not, because graduation without education is pointless. And what we need to do, and I don't know why they changed this for certain schools, but what we need to do is bring kids in and test them, let's say in October or September when they first start school, to see what levels they're working at. Then once we know where their strengths and weaknesses lie, we can strengthen those weaknesses and encourage them to focus on their strengths as well. Start children off, I call it the invisible hand of education. It's what we do inside of colleges. We should turn our entire school system into a college system. And when you go into college, they give you a test. And based on that test and where you grade at, that's where they start you off at. They don't, just put you into the 8th grade knowing that you're only doing 2nd grade math. So they'll send you to a 2nd grade math class to relearn this stuff over again, and you move up to 3rd, 4th grade, and then we need to expedite those classes for older kids. And we need to get rid of the grading scale. As long as you can be average enough in these classes, you should be able to pass these courses all the way up until you get to your right grade. And how would an 8th grader feel if he's in 2nd grade mathematics with a little boy who's 8 years old? It would motivate him to do better. It would also, if a second grader is in 6th grade mathematics and they know they're supposed to be in 2nd grade, it motivates them to be better and encourages them. So it's the invisible hand of self-interest and competition that would guide our school systems. If we implemented that, I think we can start to see some movement on our test scores.
Now,
go ahead.
Okay, not to cut you off. Coming back around, before I leave the schools, no, go ahead and finish. Are you finished with what you was going to say about the schools and test scores?
Oh, well, I think the biggest issue is that if we can start moving test scores, that we need to diversify our school system. They're already doing it with the charter schools. One of the things, it's like a race. If, let's say, our school system, parents do not have other educational alternatives. So instead, what you have school personnel doing, these people are getting paid $100,000 a year. I have no idea why our kids are failing. But when you're in a race with other runners, you have to train at least as hard as those other runners in the race. But if the parents can't find alternative education, can't afford it, you don't have anybody else in a race. You're the single runner inside the race. I mean, you don't have to lose weight. You can smoke a cigar and walk as you go across the finish line. And so that's the problem in our school systems, that it lacks a market and competition. We are starting to get that off the ground, but charter schools are uncharted territory. And I believe that we have to get all these organizations that have a self-interest inside our school system. Now, these people are getting paid upwards of $60,000, $70,000 a year, and they're still asking for more money for a $750 million failure in our school system. So everybody else's interest got to come out these schools except our students' interest. That's going to be imperative. And if they don't like that, then, it took a long time for us to lose our power. We didn't say anything when the mayor took away our power in the school system. The General Assembly did. And we should say something about it now. The other missing component is parents. I've had an open conversation with a teacher, and I asked her, she was talking about how rough it is in the neighborhood. She said, well, it don't really bother me. I said, well, why would you want to come down here if it's so rough down here? She goes, well, because I can't stand the suburban parents. Those parents are crazy. She said, I can't deal with the parents. I said, well, why do you come down here? And she honestly told me that parents don't have any power. You have more help from the school system against the parents. And that's because parents, there's no motivating factor. But even teachers are starting to realize now today that they're going to need the assistance of parents in our school system.
Now, let me ask you, not to cut you off, let me ask you this question right here, because we're running on the time. But let me ask you this. Out of the chat room from Twitter, what is your plan to revitalize the neighborhoods and to stop tearing down all these vacant houses and probably rehab them and make our citizens homeowners, and to bring people back into the communities that's been neglected by the Jackson administration?
Well, in my opinion, I think that entrepreneurship is crucial to this. Many of us, you have people that go to prison, they get out of jail, they can't find a job. I say create your own jobs. And we have to make it easier for those citizens to create their own jobs. I wanted to introduce to the city a theoretical concept called gray markets, where black and white market goods can be sold. Residents from Cleveland will get a reduced rate in the gray markets, and the city will provide short-term capital for those people coming into the city, or as prospective entrepreneurs. Then, if you're a felon, let's say, and you live in the city of Cleveland, you get a double reduction in the rates for short-term capital. They got this box spot. I'm really excited about that. I would like to see that go up. And the mayor has, in my opinion, I think the mayor has done very good in his investments and his long-term outlook to provide economic stability for the city. I don't think that he's done bad in that way. So some of the programs that he has brought in and the developers he's brought in, I would like to keep that going. The Opportunity Corridor, it's a 3.5-mile, $331 million 35-mile-per-hour boulevard, which extends from 55th from I-490 all the way to University Circle. I think that would bring a lot of investment in. I look forward to continuing those programs. But certainly, you have to start lower, too. You have to bring people in, co-ops, which is something I wanted to introduce into the city, where neighborhoods can actually pool their resources together to buy businesses around the community. That would be a way to trap the money inside our communities. Residents have to be empowered to become entrepreneurs in our communities. And right now, you go to every corner store, it's an error. I don't have any problems with these people, but every corner store is owned by a foreigner. But it's not owned by people inside the city. So we need to pool our resources together to get to keep that money back into the community. In addition to that, we could also leverage city dollars, which can be set aside. We can sell bonds on the open market and leverage those dollars to bring more money into the city. But it has to be low enough for the residents to be able to participate, and then it has to be high enough so that they'll get a higher return on their investments. As far as the housing, the co-ops would be a good thing to do too. That's a very good plan for us to pool our resources together to renovate some of these houses. Now, some of these houses, they're beyond renovation. They just have to be torn down. But there are houses that can be renovated and then sold. People who make investments in these co-ops to buy these dilapidated houses can then work inside these houses, for menial stuff, things like painting, cleaning, moving trash out. They can pay them. We can pay ourselves, and you can create jobs in that way. I thought that Zach Reed came up with a good plan. In fact, it was my plan. I thought he stole my plan. But I don't actually think that Zach stole my plan. I think it was his, but everybody was thinking. There's other people that's in this race that are just candidates for council members that I've talked to that had the same plan. So,
wait a minute, hold on, don't go nowhere. Explain that plan. What is it? Something that you just said, or is it something that you haven't told us about yet?
Yeah, just creating co-ops, nonprofit organizations where the residents of the city in a certain neighborhood can pool their resources together to buy dilapidated houses and renovate them.
Okay.
And as far as the houses that cannot be renovated, I think the city should go ahead and tear those down. Now, the mayor also has a plan on the table to renovate about 100 houses over there in the Cedar block between 93rd and 105. Yeah, he has a plan for that, and then about 500 more residents are going to go up along that corridor on 105. There's an $11.1 million IBM facility going up, which is a medical analytic organization.
Yeah, that's the Fairfax neighborhood.
That's right, the Fairfax Development Corporation. I'm guessing it's supposed to pick developers. Right. They have Playwright Square. I don't dislike the mayor's plan. His plan for the future, I just think that he sat on his hands the first two terms. In his third term, he's been getting busy. Like when you want to get elected again, that's kind of what you would do, But I don't think that the mayor's current economic plan is bad. I mean, I think it's a hell of a good plan.
Okay, but straight out, let me ask you this question, because everybody's asking this. Where do you stand for the $175 million Q deal?
That we have to be careful there. We have to be careful that our emotions don't override our benefits. The Cavs could be analogous to the Browns when Mayor Michael White was mayor. We could be chasing them all the way to Baltimore to bring them back. We still had to build a new stadium in order to get a new set of Browns. We don't want to have to do that for these Cavaliers. We want to keep them here. They are a source of revenue for the city, including the tourism that we're receiving. If you go out on West 25th, it's a lot of tourists down there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this has to be a measured approach. I would suggest that we renegotiate with all the parties involved. And I don't suggest that it has to be the citizens. I don't mind renegotiating maybe a deal where the Cavs can pay a little bit more in rents, and maybe we can get the county to sell a few more bonds so that we don't have to come out of so much money, so we can make the investments back into our communities.
So not to cut you off again, I'm sorry, but so if you are the mayor, because that after the election, they're going to have to do a special election because the courts ruled that it has to go to the ballot. So your position would be that you would go out and campaign to do the deal, but get a better deal.
Yeah, we would definitely have to renegotiate something. If it's just insisted on by the people of the city, as the mayor, you have to represent the people's desires and wants, and if they want something, you have to do your best to try to get it. But you also have to be honest with the people as well. If it's not achievable, it's not achievable. This is a very small city. We have 3 teams. We have a football team. We have a basketball team, and a hockey team. We have a baseball team. And it's a lot of money that goes into maintaining these teams. We do not want to lose these people. They are a big source of revenue, and they provide a sense of economic stability for the city. So we don't want to mess anything up. We don't want to have these people leave. So I would suggest that we renegotiate the deal with all interested parties and go from there.
So just before we get ready to cut you down, because I know that you gave us a time limit, we went a little bit over. But let me ask you this one question before you go there. The people in the chat room are talking about what are you going to do for the neighborhoods by bringing how cities build up, but the east side has been left. Uh, the Waterloo area is built up. Uh, Harvard area has been left. So, what would you do to bring the services back? And while you telling us what you would do to bring the services back, what would you do to bring the sewer and water and electrical rates down, but keep the same service?
Well, I know some years ago the CEO who was just elected to be over the Clean Public Power actually stopped some of the rates that were being charged. Uh, Definitely, as far as the sewage is concerned, that's a tight issue right there because the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has implemented a consent decree for Northeast Ohio. And apparently there are sewer overruns that are going into tributary streams and even the lake. This is our drinking water. We definitely need to make those upgrades. It's imperative that we do that. Some of the solutions that I thought about doing was lowering the eligibility requirements for the affordability and homestead programs to allow more people to get reductions in sewer and water. We also could institute a water conservation campaign to reduce water usage and consumption. We could challenge the constitutionality of Northeast Ohio Sewer District's ability to charge base fees to its residents. We don't want to get into no tug of war with these people, but at the same time, we want fair rates. This has to be done by 2020. The consent decree requires it, and I'm sure that these base charges are a way for them to collect the $3 billion they're going to need to finish the project by 2021. And it's difficult to tell them not to do it because it's an environmental hazard for the city, and it's a health hazard as well. So it's difficult to say that we should not do it, but at the same time, it's difficult to say that, that we have to do something about the water prices. They are very high. We also could use some of the money that we've raised through this tax increase to start our own Affordability Act. We can give tax abatements out to homeowners to make up for some of the costs that they're losing inside their water bills. It's a number of different ways that we can do it, but those are the main ways that I would tackle the issue to move us forward and to provide our citizens with some kind of relief.
Okay, Mr. Dyrone W. Smith, I want before we let you go off the air, I know you've been paid, you've been going on with us, and we really been enjoying talking to you. I want you just to take the next 2 minutes and talk to the residents of the city of Cleveland and tell them why they should give you the look at and the shot to be their next mayor. Go ahead and talk to our listeners.
Yes. Well, my name is Dyrone Smith. I've been a 28-year resident of the city of Cleveland. I was born in the city. Most likely I'll die here as well. I have a vested interest in the improvement of the city. My children go to the same public schools that your children probably go to. I know that I've seen some things in the public schools that I did not like, and I'm sure that you have as well. The biggest problem that we're having in our communities is a lack of investment, and especially on the east side, in our schools, in our streets and roads, and in our businesses. And I would like to be the person to deliver that for you. I do have formal training in corporate management. I have a business management and in addition to that, I have a strong economics background. I studied public finance, public sector economics, managerial economics, and I like to put those skills to work to benefit the city and the residents, and of course, my children and yours, because I do have a vested interest. And that's pretty much why I would think I would be a better choice. And we need to stop corruption. Corruption is rampant here in this community, and I think it needs to be stopped. That is a big issue, I think, that needs to be solved, but we can only do that if we purge all of our local politicians as they exist today. They've sat on their hands for several years and not did anything except around election time. I think that's a big issue with our communities, and we need to move them out. It's time for a change. It's time for us to stop being lied to in our school systems. It's time for us to stop being viewed as criminals by the police department. It's time for us to move forward in this city on race relations in our community. And it's time for a change.
Well, Mr. Smith, thank you very, very much for being with us on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. We're going to have to get you in our remote studio over in Bracknell, Cleveland area so you can come and spend some time with us. Maybe we can sit down before the election and have you come in studio where you can get some phone calls, where you can do a live show with us. We get with you and have you doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the 57 mayoral election candidate, Dyrone W. Smith. Give him a look, find out where his town halls are at, find out where they're going to have the debate. I think the next one's coming up is for the City Club, and everybody needs to remember one thing. Democracy has responsibility, and you must get out and vote. Early voting starts August 15th. Get out and vote, and make sure that you vote before the primary on September the 12th. And to everybody, democracy has responsibility, and you must participate. Right now, on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100, we're going to go into the chat room with D Knows later on, but we're going to be right back.
You're listening to STMK Radio 100.
And now, let's go into the chat room with D Knows and see what they're talking about for the 57 mayoral election. D, what's happening in the chat room with you on a free-for-all Thursday?
Well, Chanel, it's free-for-all Thursday, and they're letting their opinions show. Cleveland 2017 election, Orsum 69, between the devil and the deep blue sea. Just Rose 101. The only way Cleveland's neighborhoods, schools, and political infrastructure will improve is to start voting for Republican candidates. It's that simple. Under the circus tent. Cleveland needs term limits, plain and simple. The city leader that shows the most common sense is Polincic. Too bad he doesn't run for mayor, because he can do far better than Jackson and the other big-name candidates in Reed and Johnson. Don't care if it is a city the size of Cleveland with about 385,000 residents or a suburb with around 10,000 residents. Once most of these politicians get into their positions, they carve out their positions of power. Incumbents are hard to beat. If there are no term limits, they run again and again. Name recognition and party affiliation almost guarantees a win. The only way the perpetual office holders get out of office is if they retire, decide to run for another office when they are due to get reelected at the same time, swept up in scandals, or pass away. They keep on building up their campaign war chest for the next run for office. In the meantime, they keep on concentrating on their pet or special interest projects. Finally, there is no way a convicted felon should ever hold any elected office. Homer CPD 113. Fair has my early support in the 3rd District. He has the business know-how and a social conscience. And while most of my neighbors and I believe McCormick is a great guy, his free chance at the seat has been marked by community unresponsiveness in general, high crime, and alarming health trends. Bumbleberry to Homer CPD 113. That pretty much sums up what he has or has not done since being in office. What has he done? He did vote for the dirt bike track. Johnny Cleve 10X. They need to be contested. It's time to give the Republicans their 40-year chance to run the city. They can't do worse. Righteous Kill 3222. Enough already about the dirt bike track. The guy has one bad idea, and you want to bury him in it. Funny Side 88. What does a skeleton order at a restaurant? Spare ribs. And that's what's happening in the chat room with D Knows.
You're listening to STMK Radio 100.
Any car brave enough to withstand a decade's worth of multi-state family voyages is worth treating to some quality parts and Napa know-how. Coolant for the Death Valley trip, wiper blades for the Pacific Northwest, air fresheners for the Southwest chili cook-off. Yeah, with some quality parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep your Road Warrior running longer, stronger, for many more vacations to come. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
AP Radio News. I'm Ed Donahue. At least one death has been confirmed in a popular tourist area of Barcelona, Spain.
The van just passed by me, my family.
And did you see any other people that...
Yes.
A van drove into pedestrians on a sidewalk. Police are considering it a terror attack. Police confirm one death, but say the number is likely to rise.
Pues he visto un montonazo de gente gritando.
Witness Miguel Angel Rizzo says he heard many people screaming, and then he saw the van going down the boulevard. He could see all the bodies laying through the area. It was brutal, he said, a very tough image to see. There's a report one suspect in Barcelona has been arrested. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has responded to the crash in Barcelona.
Terrorists around the world should know the United States and our allies are resolved to find you and bring you to justice.
Apple is donating $2 million to two human rights groups as part of the CEO Tim Cook's pledge to help fight against the hate that fueled the violence in Charlottesville, Virginia last weekend. Texas Republican Congressman Will Hurd says whether you are Democrat or Republican, there are things Americans should be able to agree on.
Be kind to one another, right? You know, treat people with respect, be honest. You know, all those things that we learned in kindergarten are still valuable today, and I think we all need to take a deep breath and reset.
He was on CBS this morning responding on Twitter to the taking down of some Confederate monuments around the country. President Trump said the nation is seeing the history and culture of our great country being ripped apart. A man in prison for 45 years could be very close to freedom after another man said he had no role in a 1971 murder in Detroit. A judge last week threw out Richard Phelps' conviction and ordered a new trial. The Dow is down 170 points. This is AP Radio News. HBO says it has regained control of its social media accounts. They were seized by hackers.
The hacker group Our Mind took over the Twitter accounts belonging to Game of Thrones last week tonight with John Oliver and other HBO shows Wednesday night. The hackers did not do much damage, sending the television company a message saying we're just testing your security and suggesting HBO call for an upgrade. HBO says in a statement, the infringement on our social media accounts was recognized and rectified quickly. The hack was much less damaging than the theft by hackers who've been posting stolen information and unaired episodes for weeks. Warren Levinson, New York.
July is usually a hot month, but not this hot. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says Earth sweated to its second hottest month since record-keeping began in 1880. At 61.89 degrees, last month was behind last July's all-time record. Earth's land temperature in July was the hottest ever on record. Ed Donahue, AP Radio News.
Napa know-how.
A Napa guy knows that by the foot, there's no better ride than an old station wagon. Room for 6 people facing forward, 2 people facing backward, and a whole lot of luggage, lumber, and bicycles haphazardly strapped to the roof. If you can parallel park that beast, you can park anything. And with some quality parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep your land ship running longer, stronger. It's not obsolete. It's a rare treasure. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
Stop the madness. Keep it 100. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100 with your hosts Sean L., Letty Love, and funny man Doug Million. Join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. Stop the madness. Keep it 100. With live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app. Stop the madness. Keep it 100. STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. The best talk show on the web is here. STMK Radio 100. Also call us at 1-866-484-STMK to stop the madness. Keep it 100.
You're listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 with your host, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100, 100, 100, 100.
Hey, welcome back. In the studio with me tonight is Tone the Stone and Rich. Welcome, Tone the Stone. And
what up?
What's
Stop
up, Rich?
Rich. What's going on? Keep it 100 radio. I brought my man Richie Rich with me today, otherwise known as Rich Money, for the street people out there who might be familiar with him.
What's your name, Rich? Pull up to your mic, Rich, so the people can hear you.
My name Rich, man. I go by Rich.
Okay. Say it one more time so they can hear you, bro.
I go by Rich Money.
All right, Rich Money. That's his name, everybody. In the studio with us is Rich Money. So I want everybody to know right now, we're going to go back into that. You heard President Obama's civil rights attorney. We was talking about Charlotte and what's happening in Charlotte. It's really, really sad that we have to deal with something like that in 2017, and everybody has to know that we have to really, really get ourselves together. But, I want to go to something and be positive today. Tony Stone, we got enough killing in the city. You heard 57 mayoral election candidate Dyrone W. Smith. The brother had some serious things he was saying. Everybody may not believe in his platform. All the police officers were really, really high upset when he came in and talked about getting rid of unions and everything. But you have to understand, 82% of y'all have left the city of Cleveland, so you have no choice in this matter, but you're going to have to deal with it when you become out into the thing.
Right.
So, Rich.
And you know what? Just to say one thing, Chanel, before you move on about that, like maybe getting rid of the unions might be the way to have better accountability amongst these organizations, these institutions.
Well, you're going to have to, Tony Stone, go back and listen to that brother, because that brother quoted something from 1935 where public service employees couldn't be in a union because it blocked management and stuff like that. So that's something that we really need to know. Rich, why you sitting over there all quiet? What you think about Charlotte, man? You got to move into your mic just a little bit, Rich, just a little bit. There you go. Come on in just a little bit.
Set us back for, the truth of the matter is, these people exist. They haven't went nowhere but into hiding. So now they feel emboldened, like they can come out of hiding, and that's the problem. That's what the setback is. Like they think they can come out of hiding, and they about to make a change. What change they want? Like if they want to be in the all-white society, move to Antarctica somewhere and have your all-white society over there. Get out of here.
Well, you know what, Tony Stone, I think that we fought this battle already. And it's a shame that we have to go back and fight it again. And it's a shame that our president couldn't come out and say something. And it's a shame that our communities are now back at war with our law enforcement officers. I mean, it's just a total mess. And if the people do not get out and vote and change this, your kids is going to have to come into this mess. And believe me, what happened in Charlotte was planned, okay? They came in there with tiki torches in the middle of the night to get the police and everybody over to where they was at. And I'm going to have to say this. Somebody had to tell them what the deployment plans for the police department was. But the biggest problem I have is that they went into town in truckloads and singled out people walking by themselves and started beating them with baseball bats and stuff. And I have a problem with that because in North Carolina, they're arresting protesters for pulling down statues, but they have yet arrest one person for jumping out of a truck with a baseball bat, beating somebody.
Right, and a lot of times, from what I saw, what I read, the police were standing there just watching the violence, like they didn't intervene until.
Well, I don't blame them for that, okay? Because you have to understand this right here, okay? And this is a problem where I'm gonna come back where I'm not going to beat the police on that tone because guess what? The police officers were outnumbered, out equipped, and didn't have any help. So if they would have intervened, the question is this: if he would have intervened and had to start shooting into the crowd and killing protesters, everybody would be sitting here right now calling him a madman.
Well, yeah, no, we definitely don't. I mean,
okay,
we definitely don't want nobody shooting into a crowd.
Well,
of people.
but
that's what we might have expected from one of the.
But you asked me to do that when I'm not going. Wait a minute.
No, that's not what I meant by intervene.
Okay, let me
you
say
don't got to shoot into a crowd to intervene.
Wait a minute.
Because also, hold on, Sean. Before you go, also the police were outnumbered, but the militia and the people on the left who there were armed. They weren't taking sides. They were just there to provide a buffer, more or less, so that they were kind of there to assist the police.
But let me explain this to you. You do not play a police officer to take an ass whooping. You do not pay me to get hurt.
Yes, we do.
You do not pay me to die.
That's what we do. Okay. If that's in the line of duty,
that's their job. And if you're going to say that's my job, then you got to go.
If you feel brave enough to patrol these streets, you got to be willing to die.
Okay, and that means I got to be willing to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And that means if you're trying to hurt me,
not willing to kill him, not willing to kill him just because you feel like killing somebody today.
Just anybody.
Feeling if your life is genuinely on the line,
So have you seen the video in Wisconsin?
Refresh my memory.
Hold on, right there. We got, on the phone. We got a person on the phone. I'm glad he called in. James, come on in with us. My man, James. Tell us what you thinking today.
How you doing, Sean? How's everybody else over there?
Everybody doing good. I'm glad you called in because I was just telling them, we was talking about Charleston, and the question came up why the police didn't intervene, and I just told them those officers was outnumbered, and had they intervened, they would have had to kill somebody.
Well, it seems to me something was going to happen. It was designed to happen. If you go back to that Dylan Roof, that guy back in South Carolina when he went into the church and killed those parishioners for absolutely no reason other than some Confederate symbol has been tampered with or whatever. That's just another excuse. Hatred, Sean, is taught. All this business about the Confederacy and all these symbols and stuff like that, quite frankly, I think we ought to leave it in place. Every last one of them.
I agree with that.
Think about it. Think about it.
I disagree, James.
Hold on, let me explain myself. I want to explain myself. I'll tell you why. You remember General Lee? General Lee was a racist. He was a Southern racist. He owned slaves and all that. Well, he surrendered to Ulysses Grant. Okay? To me, that illustrated he was a loser. And
that's another reason you don't want a statue of him up in the park, in the city park.
No, it should be there. It's history. I mean, we cannot change history. It is what it is.
We can't. I'm not saying destroy the statues. I'm saying they don't belong in public parks. Where racists praise them as a symbol, as a reflection of their ideologies and their beliefs. We don't need that in public parks, where black children are playing, where this towering figure of a historical racist, a notorious racist, they have to play in the park with this man towering over them.
Tony Stone, you have to understand one thing too. If you don't learn your history, if you don't know your history, you're going to repeat your history.
True.
So I understand what James talking about too. Leave those statues up. If you want to do something, don't put a statue down. Let's break them down.
Put them in front of
let's put the Klan for once and for all. This is what I want to tell my audience. And James, I'm gonna let you finish in a minute. But this is what I want to tell my audience. For once and for all, let's bury the neo-Nazi, the Ku Klux Klan, and all them. Let's put them on a terrorist list. Let's load up on our Humvees with the SWAT team. They committed major felonies, and let's start knocking on their doors with warrants and start snatching them up off their jobs. And I guarantee you, if the law enforcement will go do this, I know the session won't, so the state going to have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If they did that, we would not have this problem anymore of them walking down there.
They're not going to do that.
You know what? I seen something on Facebook where they was talking about how the Black Panthers was created to fight, KKK members, and they were saying how the government came in to shut the Black Panthers down, but
that's correct.
KKK still around.
They'll stop them at the drop of a dime.
But hold up, we got Brother
Or
James.
try to at least.
Brother James, go ahead and finish expressing yourself because you're on the phone with us, and I want my callers and we want our callers to be able to express themselves. So go ahead and finish expressing yourself.
All I wanted to really illustrate, Sean, and I understand everybody's point of view, and please don't believe that I don't. But what they want to celebrate is a loser. They're worshiping losers, as far as I'm concerned. And that's the history they're so proud of. Let them have at it. Certainly, they take away any excuse to go around and killing unarmed civilians for no good reason other than the color of their skin.
James, I agree with you completely, but just move the statues out of the public parks, put them in their trailer parks or wherever they live.
Well, that's one way of looking at it.
Well,
and trust me, I understand the sentiment.
Well, see, I'm from the old school. I was born back during the Jim Crow era, and I know about Jim Crow laws, and I came up in the city of Cleveland that was highly racial, and I'm just going to say this right here. When Almond Evans and the Black Nationals and then the Panthers and them they came in and watched the neighborhoods. So our leaders, and I truly believe this, and I'll be the first to get on the bus, but I truly believe this. When they come September 22nd, and I'm saying this to all my sisters and brothers throughout the United States, I don't care where you at, what you got to do, how you got to work. Don't be scared of the police. Right now, you should be packing every bus. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, they should be buying every bus they can. And we should have going to Houston, Texas, or Texas, Crispy, Texas, where they having their next rally at. And we should do a million-man march right down on top of their ass. And I mean, it's time when they come in that city with tiki torches, we should be coming over the hill as one people like Sitting Bull did Custer and let them know this is it. We're going to have the big ball right here. Okay? It's time for everybody to get off their duff and get out there and stop this mess.
Well, we're going.
That may be what they want, Sean. They, we've heard talk about racial wars and all that. This could be. This is something that's being driven. Make no mistake about it. Everything is coordinated here.
I agree with that, James. I agree with that. But this is the problem, James. If law enforcement is not going to stop it, okay? I watched kids in the 60s get beat like that right here in the city of Cleveland. That man in that parking garage, okay, minding his own business, getting beat by 10 people with baseball bats, okay? That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. I don't care if you white. I don't care if you black. I don't care if you yellow. That's unacceptable, okay? That's why everybody right now need to arm up, go to the gun stores, just like they did when they said Obama was coming to take their guns. All decent human beings should arm up right now, because whether you want a civil war or not, or whether you're going to have a civil war or not, or a race war or not, it is the president's responsibility of the United States, Donald Trump, to come out into this country right now and go get everybody who violated somebody's rights in Charleston.
And here's the catch to that, Sean, from the black perspective, with this whole prison industrial population and black men being handed out felonies like a GED, and now the law saying that if you've got a felony, you can't legally own a firearm. So that's a
well. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Tony Stone. Let me tell you something. When Almond Evans and them decided they was going to die that night, the law didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So let me tell you this right here. When it comes right now, when it comes to go down, because had I been walking in that parking garage and 10 people jumped out with baseball bats, I'm dropping 3 clips and it's on.
Right.
I don't care about the law. I don't care about that your son. I don't care about that your mama. Okay? They better realize that right now.
I'm telling you, that's how it's supposed
Tony
to be.
Stone, I'm telling you right now,
I
if I'm
understand.
in Minter Mall and your son come at me with a baseball bat with Minter Mall and there's 5 of them, I'm dropping clips down on their ass. I don't care if they don't go back home.
That's how any reasonable
and
person.
It's time that everybody realize that. It's self-survival now.
This is the point out. This is what I was getting at. Like, if you saying marching, like all those ralliers, they're marching with their weapon, all those militiamen, everybody out there with their weapon. If the police was doing checks or whatever, they're within their rights.
But
so many people from our communities, they can't
had the police been
legally with their weapons. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that it matters if it's going to go down.
Let me tell you this, Stone. Had the police been doing their job as they were supposed to be, now one Klansman would have been able to walk. I done 4 of those details. Okay, 4 of them. When the Ku Klux Klan came up on 185th in 1995, they had to carry their fists. We checked them. They didn't have no knives. They didn't have no sticks. They didn't have no shield. They didn't have anything. Anything that they had that could be used for a weapon, the police took it from them. Had that been Black Lives Matters walking in downtown Cleveland in riot gear, we would have had a riot. Okay? Even with your black chief, we would have had a riot. So I'm calling it as it is. I'm not biting no things, okay? I was in law enforcement. When the Klan came to the front of the Justice Center, and James, you know about this because you work with the Sheriff Department and you know you had to be out there. They fenced that area off. They took them in an armed vehicle. They took them out in an armed vehicle. Any person that came down there to protest the Klan had to get searched. I was sitting on a horse. If we went in crowds on horseback and pulled agitators out, okay? We did not allow that. That was allowed. And that's let you know right now, if the government is not going to protect you, if the government is not going to protect my daughter, my wife, my son, it's my to protect myself. And Almond Evans told everybody in 1968 when he told George Forbes and all them politicians that came to the House, I'm ready to die tonight. Okay? He didn't care who got killed. He didn't care who he killed. He didn't care who the police was, black, white, yellow. Okay? When he fired those shots at the police, all he seen was the government, and those 12 individuals took to the streets and gave their lives. I don't care if it's right or wrong, okay? But if the government's not going to protect us, and if the government's not going to do their job, and if the police is not going to do their job, guess what? Then you have to protect yourself.
Right.
And as a black man in America right now, as a law enforcement officer being a black man in America, I'm in fear for my safety. I am. I'm in fear for my safety. I'm not as scared of no police. I welcome the police. But I am fear that people think that they can do anything they want to do to you. And I pray to the good Lord that don't nobody's son walk up on me with a baseball bat, because I swear, I shoot expert. I swear to God, on my mama's grave, if anything happened to me like happened to that young man in that garage in Charlotte, I'm not going by myself.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
To my understanding, it happened by the police station, right?
Well, you have to understand, the police, you can't blame the police for anything except poor planning.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
They knew for weeks this was going to happen. Okay?
Wait, but what happened by the police station? That beating? They beat him with the bat? Right. The police were there watching them?
The police wasn't there. See what everybody realize, James, and you can relate on this. I'm going to give you the floor again, is that just because you buy a police station, all the policemen are out in the field. They're not by the police station.
Oh, when I lived in L.A., one of the biggest drug dens was right next to downtown.
Well,
police
that's where you're
station.
supposed to go. But James, as I said, Facebook Live, YouTube. I want everybody to chime into this, and we got a lot of law enforcement officers coming into the thing in the chat room, and a lot of them agreeing with me. But my problem is this: I'm not advocating violence. I'm not advocating any. I'm advocating safety. And if the police and Trump and the government and session is not going to protect us, and I understand everybody talking about Civil War and everybody got guns. Well, guess what? We got so many guns on the street right now. Our community is already being held hostage. Okay, right. I mean, so come on, people. We got to think about this. We have to either stand up and end this, or we are going to have a civil war. Okay, because it's just a matter of a time for this to happen in a city like Chicago, or Detroit, L.A. What's going to happen when 5 neo-Nazis come down and jump on Sean, and all these guys say, "Hey, we ain't gonna let them do that."
There, though.
And it's gonna happen.
They're not gonna do it
You
here.
don't never know when people get emboldened. I'm looking for another Timothy McVeigh to come and blow something up. See, this is the problem with everybody don't understand, and this is going back. Timothy McVeigh only blew up the Mayoral building, okay, when he got emboldened. Okay. He got emboldened because people wouldn't call it out. We have allowed neo-Nazis. We buried neo-Nazis. We buried the Klan. Not only has we allowed them to come back into society, we put them in the White House.
Right.
Okay? They're in the White House. Okay? They're running our policy. They're running what's going to happen to you. Okay? It's time. It's time for this madness to stop. All them 47.3% of Americans that kept their ass at home and did not go to the polls, thank you for putting this mess upon us. Okay? All the blacks that voted third party and went and voted the Green Party, and all them blacks that say they couldn't vote for Hillary, thank you for putting this mess upon your kids. I'm not going to call you out. I'm not going to call you out. I should, because you're in the chat room, but I'm going to have better respect for that. But for all the people who said I can't, I'm not going to worry about voting for what Trump, and we're not going to live and worry about what's going to happen. Okay, when Trump asks you what you got to lose, now you know what you got to lose. You got your life to lose.
On a brighter note,
ain't no brighter note. Ain't no brighter note.
I read earlier today that some very smart people think that Trump is going to have a nervous breakdown and resign.
No, well, you know what? You know what? I don't want Trump to resign. I'm sorry. I don't want Trump to resign. Okay? I'm going to tell you why not. And James, you know what I'm getting ready to say. Because you got the devil sitting on the hot seat waiting to come in with the pitchfork, and he's going to serve you properly. Okay? Don't let the devil in the house. We got a numbskull up there right now. That numbskull don't know what the hell going on. He don't know how to get his policies going. He don't know what to do. He don't even know how to come out and tell somebody that got killed by the neo-Nazis that, hey, he couldn't even lie to you.
He ain't even acknowledged that lady.
Well, it's not that he acknowledged or not. He couldn't lie. Lie to me. Lie to me and tell me you're going to protect me. Lie to me and tell me.
That's supposed to be a politician's best skill.
He ain't hey, he don't have no skills. But James, go ahead. I want you to put your point across.
Let me say this. You know, and this is a very emotional discussion we're having. But let us not forget that we have lived with a constitution. One that I believe in, right or wrong.
But James, wait a minute, James. Before you go back, I want to ask you a question right here because somebody just asked me this in the thing. How can you believe or go with a constitution that was not written for you because you was property?
Well, Sean, look at it like this: we've been living this constitution, and thus far we have progressed. You know, when we look at history, we're looking at a time period where things are bound to change. Here we are in the 21st century, and we have progressed.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
We have progressed as a people. And for us to say, you know, because they put an idiot in the White House who's not interested in helping you or I, this is a hiccup in history. But do we lower ourselves down to the point of self-destruction because of one man.
Well,
one man.
well, that's
Go
true.
ahead.
That's true. That's true. But I think the problem right here, James. I don't think Trump's the problem. Okay, I'm just going to say it the way it is. We need love. Wait, we need love. We need more. But the problem is the failure of the village to stand up and take care of the village.
True. Can I answer
And
your
before
question?
you say that, wait. Before you say that, Jack want to say something. Not you, but Jack want to say something.
Either you're part of the solution or goddammit, you are the fucking problem. Either you're part of the solution or goddammit, you are the fucking problem.
And that's what we need to let our village know, our kids. Okay, that's where the problem is, our kids. And I'm gonna say this: this isn't a black and white issue. This is a community and a village issue where we got to take responsibility and get our kids and bring them back in. Okay, and teach them the proper way they're supposed to go.
Can I take a shot at
Yeah,
your question
go
that
ahead.
you asked, James? Thank you, James, for calling in again and for all your input. Much respected, and we much appreciate you contributing to the conversation.
Okay.
My answer to your question, Sean, would be that the Constitution on paper is right. On paper is right. Maybe back when they wrote it, we weren't considered a part of the system. We weren't regarded as humans or a person. But as of right now, that wrong has been righted on paper. Once again, at least on paper is right. It's just that the people in positions of power don't honor it, and then it's a matter of values and morals and people respecting each other, a man to man, black or white, whatever.
Right.
Us treating each other like we're all equal and we're all a part of the same system.
James, come on, jump in here. We can hear you when you come on up in here.
Well, I'm a very opinionated individual. Make no mistake about it.
You on Stop the Madness, keep it 100. Let your opinion show.
At the end of the day, Sean, what we do today is going to impact the future of our children. And somebody had mentioned our children. But in order for us to fix this, our problem is systemic. Right now we have babies having babies. Okay, we have children without fathers.
Babies
and
killing
in
babies.
some cases without mothers. Okay, the core of the family, the nucleus of the family isn't there, and that results in what we deal with on a daily basis when we read or see on the news where young people are dying, our children are dying on the street. When I was coming up, that was a rarity.
Yes, it was.
Today is like an everyday event.
And that's scary.
So there's some culpability within our community, and I know somebody had mentioned this earlier, things that we need to do as a people, okay, to get our house in order. Okay, that's where we begin.
Right.
From there, we go outward. And there are folks, no matter what color or nationality, that really are on our side.
And this is the time where I'm gonna say this because when I was a kid and this was going on, okay, because this isn't new, okay. So I want everybody to know this isn't new. But when I was a kid and this was going on, the change in environment happened, like I think it was 1964 when the civil rights went down to Mississippi, Philadelphia, Mississippi, and they got killed and buried on that dam. That changed the civil rights fight and era. Those 3 deaths, okay, that changed everything. And I really think that the neo-Nazis, the Klan, and Trump, and Bannon, they made a major mistake when they killed that girl, okay? Because if you look at the news media right now, all they talking about is the death of that young girl. They're not talking about the males that was beaten down. Right. They're not talking about the members of the LGBT community that was caught and beat. Okay, you had many beatings taking place there. They're not talking about that. Okay, then they end up killing this young girl, and he has to be from Ohio. Okay. And I tell everybody this, Ohio is one of the most prejudiced states in the United States. Okay. And I tell the people in law enforcement, they don't like Jews, they don't like blacks, they don't like Puerto Ricans, they don't like Hispanics, and they don't like cops. Okay, they don't care if you white or black because they see you as the government. They feel the government is imposing on their life. That's why that police officer in Arkansas, Tennessee, or down there from Ohio, killed those 2 police officers. His son did. Okay, so it comes to a point where we as a people have to make a decision. Are we going to take care of our neighborhoods and our people, or are we going to go hide? Okay, and it's going to come to that point. You're going to have to make it. You have to get off the pot and make a decision. And James, go ahead and finish what you were saying. I didn't mean to cut you off, my brother.
No, that's okay, son. I mean, you bring up a lot of valid points. You know, I've always been a believer in an economic force. And as a community, we are an economic force. We just don't know where to direct our wealth.
Right, because
I assure you, you start spending your money elsewhere, you will definitely get their attention.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say that true to you because I've been on the road with everybody. The last show and Saturday when I was on the show out in New York, everybody was talking about boycotting the NFL for Kaepernick. Okay, my problem with boycotting the NFL for Kaepernick is that yes, they're doing Kaepernick wrong, but guess what? The NFL is 67.9% black. They're making $20 million a year per player with all the endorsement jerseys, everything. Not one black player last Thursday and tonight walked off that field for Kaepernick. Okay?
Right.
So my thing is, if they're not going to stand up for themselves and they're not going to stand up for one of their own, why are all the people outside talking about the NFL? If you don't like the NFL, don't look at the NFL.
Right.
Okay. I told a guy, and I'm going to say this again on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. If you want to boycott something, walk outside your front door and see what's affecting your life and boycott that. Make a change in your neighborhood that something's going to affect your life. Early voting started August 15th. Go down and vote before don't have to stand in no lines. You can still go to the club. You can still go mess around with Bebe and all the rest of them. Go vote. Make this change. Okay? We got some young people coming and running that got some ideas. Get out and vote. And James, I want you to finish up and go ahead. And I didn't mean to cut you back off because you know what? You are one of the brothers that give us so much love, and we really want to hear your opinion. So let your opinion show.
Well, you know, Sean, at the end of the day, like I said before, it's a community thing. It's not a James thing. It's the community. We need to organize ourselves, and until that day, we're going to still be sitting here whining about this and whining about that. But we as a people, as a community, and whoever wants to join, it don't have to be the black community. It's people of common values, of common sense, need to put their heads together and make this change.
Well, I say all human beings. Anybody that's a human being with morals and want to live with and has some decency about themselves need to unite.
Right. You know, it doesn't matter to me if you're Republican or Democrat or Independent. At the end of the day, it comes down to common sense, the common good for everyone. We have catered too long to the haves, tax breaks and all of that. If you think about it, and let me just draw a picture and I'll get out your way. You know, there's a lot of crying about people on welfare, as an example. But if you look at the facts, there are people who work who are on welfare.
Right.
So, for the most part, you have an employer making millions and millions of dollars. And we're subsidizing through our tax dollars working people. Now, if people don't understand or see a problem with that, why am I subsidizing a Walmart, for an example? This family is getting rich. The Waltons, I believe is their name. They're sitting here getting rich.
Yes, they
and
are.
We're sitting here paying taxes, subsidizing employees who work for them through the welfare line.
And
then you have folks complaining about people on welfare.
But if you look at this, you notice when Trump came out Monday and he said, you notice the guy from Walmart got up out of that off that council. Okay, you notice that, and you know where Walmart stands. Everybody should understand what Walmart is. Okay, I love Walmart. Okay, my daughter's a big BIP there, but you know what Walmart is. Okay, and you see he got up off that council. Okay, money talks. Okay, that's the power. All green talks, and when you start grabbing that green, then you get results.
Right. See, that's what Trump good at, getting money.
But James, you know what, brother? We really appreciate you calling us and sharing your thoughts with us. And you know we always value your opinion. And we really appreciate it.
I certainly appreciate the opportunity to speak more so to the community, your listeners out there. And whether they're Republican or Democrat, and try to at least illustrate the other side of an argument.
And we appreciate that.
This country belongs to everybody, not just to the rich.
And go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, we was just saying we appreciate that what you're saying. We really do, and that's what we need. We need our level-headed people to come out and talk to us, show us their opinion, and keep us going on the right route.
Well, Sean, you're doing a good job getting the message out, and I certainly appreciate the forum.
Well,
and I certainly encourage other folks who have opinions and ideas. You know, this is America, after all. We're told this is the land of the free and the home of the brave, and we should begin to act like it.
That is true. And James, thank you very much for giving us a call on Stop the Madness. Keep it 100.
Thank you, James.
Okay, I appreciate it, Sean.
All right. Now, that brother right there, everybody should know that you need to start calling in and getting on Facebook and everything. But right now, I want to say this. We got our man in the field. He did next week, we're going to have the 57th Mayoral Candidate Demar Sheffey one, Tony Stone. We finally landed the interview.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, we landed the interview.
We can't wait. We cannot wait.
No, your boy let him off the hook. I'm going to say this.
Oh, no, that's what he was talking about last week. He said, he already did the interview.
Yeah, he did the interview, and
he snuck it in so we couldn't crash it.
Oh, right. He did. I think he was hiding. Okay, I'm pretty sure he was hiding. Sax Man was hiding when he did the interview, but I'm going to ask him that because he's just now being hooked up with us. Sax Man, is that you out there?
Yeah, it's me, Sean. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's good, man. We being told by the producers and them that you sat down with one of the interviews of the year. And me and Tony Stone want to know why you backdoor us, man.
Why did I backdoor you?
Yeah.
You want to be more specific about what you mean by backdoor?
Okay, well, my specific is you knew that I wanted a piece of Eric Brewer's ass.
We had some questions for the man.
You knew, wait a minute, you knew that we've been trying to get Eric Brewer for the last 6 months.
Right.
And then the producer going to tell us that you sneak in the studio without us and do an interview and didn't invite me, Tony Stone, or Doug.
Well, see, that was the only way that he was going to do the interview, Sean. He didn't want no parts of you. He wasn't dealing with me. He didn't want no parts of you, man.
If he's scared to do a radio city, how you expect to lead this city?
Right. Wait a minute. If he's scared of Sean L., all I was going to do was slice him a little bit. I wasn't going to hurt him that much.
Cut his head off.
Sean, let me tell you, it was a great interview. He was himself. I found him being himself. And he was himself in rare form. he went in on everything. He answered all my questions, and he didn't hold back on his expression, his true feelings. Now, I know he wanted to really say how he felt about you, but we were on air.
well, you know what, Saxman? Since he gave you an interview, the producers kicking my show back because next week, everybody, I want everybody to know we got the most controversial person in the city of Cleveland. Eric Jonathan Brewer has given an exclusive interview with our man on the beat, Saxman.
Hey, Sax, when you did the interview with him, what uniform was he in? Which costume was he in?
I think, wait a minute, Sax, somebody told me, okay, that seen the interview, that he was butt naked in fishnet stockings with a joint, or was that something you said?
That was something I asked him. I said, "Well, have you had your breakfast and you had your coffee?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm drinking some cranberries." I said, "No, man." I said, "Coffee." I said, "I can imagine you sitting back in your favorite chair this morning, butt ass naked with fishnet stockings on and high heels, drinking some coffee and rolling up a patty."
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the interview. That's going to be top all interviews is Eric Jonathan Brewer, the 57 mayoral candidate for the city of Cleveland, and we got him now on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. But he didn't want to deal with Chanel, so I don't know if he's going to ask the questions because I was going to really go in on it. Matter of fact, I had did a series. I went and talked with some appellate court judges and prosecutors, and I was going to break down his arrest with Boston Heights PD, which is the new scandal that just came out, okay? But the producers have kicked me to the side, Tony Stone, because Saxman has went out and purchased this interview. Are you coming back into the studio with us, man? You going to get a chair?
If I can get a free day to come on Thursday, sure. I'll come back on.
Because also the producers talking about you getting ready. What's the name of this new show you in the backfield working on?
Yeah, it's gonna be my new show. It's gonna be the Saxman show. It's gonna be very fun, funny, not too confrontational, but it's gonna be a variety type show where we can talk about all types of stuff. It's not just politics and religion.
Saxman, you know that we know that we want to go into it with you and everything, but guess what? You know what time it is?
Fan base is big, I can't lose. Jigga bow down, I'm the next to rule, but I'ma stay on the cool, remain on the under, cause like Andre 3000, your boy's ice cold. Ain't no limit to the gimmicks and ways to make money. No limit to the just to act funny when you get that cake, cause you spit that way. They may love you tomorrow when they hate you today, but yo, that's the way the story goes, so I was told. Following the rainbow down the yellow brick road, but people believe at the end ain't no pie to go. Just some platinum beats from the Cleveland streets.
Tone the Stone in the Studio 51 with us live out of Cleveland, Ohio. Tone, thank you for being with us. Rich, thank you for being with us. I know you didn't say that much, but don't be worried about it. Don't get scared. We're going to give you a chance. Tone, tell our people what you want to say.
I want to thank my brother Richie Rich for coming in.
All day, man.
I want to thank
y'all.
James. I want to thank Sax, man. Congratulations on landing that controversial interview, Sax. But I want to appreciate how you went about it. I want to thank the mayoral candidate for his interview. Thanks to all the listeners out there. I really don't got a lot of time to say what I want to say, so just keep it simple. Community, let's get it together, Let's get it together. Let's organize and change the tides. If we got to do it ourselves, that's how we got to do it.
Hey, Rich, welcome to Studio 51 and sitting with us at Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. We really want you to come back because you know what? I think you can say more than what you're saying, but we're going to have to get you out here.
I'm just soaking it up right now, listening, getting some knowledge,
Hey, that's pretty good. Hey, I'm your host, Sean L., and I want y'all to get out right now. Early voting has started. Go vote at your local election board. August 15th is started. I want you to make that difference. Hey, we got to change this. You can no longer stay home. All of you who voted third party and the 47.3% of the people who did not vote at all, Chanel, I want to thank you for giving us this mess we dealing with. 2018 hashtag, get out and vote. Hey, till next time. And next week, we got that interview with Eric Jonathan Brewer. And we're going to talk with our homeboy, Rob Willer, about Trump and the NRC and Fox News setting him up on a murder investigation that he was doing. Until then, peace, love, and happiness.
You've been listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 on STMK Radio 100.